So recently, a bunch of unaired pilots found their way online, dating back to the 90s. What I want to do is look at these pilots and determine two things. 1. Did it have potential? And 2. How different would popular culture be if this pilot was picked up for series? Today we're opening up the pilot vault and looking at the pilot for a show called Business Class. It stars Mark Valley, who does like slimy characters really well. He's great in everything, from that crappy show Human Target, which I swear I was the only person watching that live, to things like Fringe and Boston Legal. He's basically America's answer to Adam James. Whenever we have a show that needs someone to be a little slimy, the BBC just pick up the phone and call Adam. I imagine it's the same across the pond. This also stars Krista Allen, who I know from Baywatch and absolutely nothing else. Right, don't judge me for watching Baywatch. That was like the most successful show of the 90s. I've got to watch it for the culture. So what is this show about? Well, it centers around a pair of sales representatives who set out on a never-ending national business trip. We start in Rochester, New York, which was also the setting of the Matthew Perry pilot, The End of Steve. I wonder if they'll bump into him at the airport. After all, we've already established that all these sitcoms share a cinematic universe. Kirk and his new partner, Terry, are running to catch a plane on time. We know this because we get some narration telling us. I saw a video recently about Tom Cruise's running in films and how it's an art form, and you really can't run in a suit and make it look cool like Tom Cruise does. Mark just looks really stiff while running. I suppose the closest you can get to Cruise levels of cool while running in a suit is probably Daniel Craig. Mark is no competition here. He doesn't have to worry about that. We actually see the narrator, which I wasn't expecting. He's there to tell us that the guys work at the world's leading soft drink company, who are sensitive about their reputation. So they've changed the name of the company from from something to Fred. The narrator is a lawyer who does stuff like this throughout the show. I'm actually really impressed by that. I like their addition, I really do. Terry is on the phone to his wife while Kirk has a flashback to his father making commercials with him on TV. It kind of reminded me of that scene in Community where Pierce had a flashback to his dad kicking him out of the shop and replacing him with an actor for the "This Is My Son" video. We then meet Krista Allen playing Felicity, someone who works for the big number 2 drink company. The narrator interrupts here to swap out the business card so it has a fake name on it rather than Pepsi. Some generic other company so they can't get sued. I like this. Genuinely, I really like it. We learn that Kirk has been trying to seduce Felicity for years, but it's never worked. Kirk watches a sad movie on the plane, so he can cry before his sales meeting. That way, he will have gotten rid of all the emotion and be able to sell better.
Jobs! The magician! Magic user, baby.
Having achieved clarity, Kirk was struck with a revelation.
He steals Felicity's carry-on because he figures there's something top secret in there. There is. It's a bunch of cans, and when he opens one of them, he finds that it's a delicious drink, a new recipe. Terry thinks the same. It is a revolution for soft drink. Everyone is suspicious of Kirk and Terry because they went to the toilet together, but they come up with a decent excuse that wins them over.
Just helping my friend. His watch fell in the toilet.
We found it.
We then meet Amy, the person there to give Kirk and Terry a tour of the state. Terry has accidentally taken the luggage of a random family with a prosthetic leg, and this leads to some banter, which, it's not the funniest, but it wastes some time, doesn't it? We then meet their boss, Glenn, played by the same guy that Saul and Marco conned in Better Call Saul. And Glenn brings in the Fixer, a woman who is known to be able to fix problems, but she can't fix this problem, that Pepsi, I mean, the competing drinks company have invented a new soft drink that is much better than theirs, so he has a heart attack over it. Now, the fixer was proper hyped up for about 5 minutes about how she was amazing and they were gonna save the day, and then she was only in it for like 30 seconds and the scene ended. What a waste of time. The boys go to a business meeting they have scheduled, but they find that the person they were meeting with has died. Kirk tries to convince the daughter of the guy who died to sign up for their business. Meanwhile, Felicity sits down in the reception of the business, waiting for the daughter. I don't know, it just feels like the stakes here aren't enough. We've just been watching a woman waiting for a delayed business meeting. They needed something with a bit more bite for the pilot episode. I can kind of understand why this wasn't picked up. It's not exciting enough. Now, I'm not a big fan of Amy. I feel like she was dropped into this pilot and was told that her only job was to say things in a funny Minnesota-like accent.
Oofta! That's how we say ouch in Minnesota.
It's not particularly funny, and it just feels like we wasted valuable time in this pilot. Terry then talks to the daughter of the dead guy, and is just honest to her about how he's had a crappy day. This resonates with her, and they connect over his connection with his daughter and her connection with her father. Kirk watches them from outside and comments on how this is all a bit melodramatic. Somehow, this works, and she signs up for a few more years of business with them. So the lesson here is, I suppose it's to be real with clients. Shouldn't this pilot have ended with Kirk doing something good? He's sort of the main character, shouldn't he have been the one to close the deal? The narrator appears, he's just hanging around like he's the narrator from Unsolved Mysteries, and he talks about how Kirk would never forget this day, which is ironic because technically this would be the only day he'd ever have memories of, as this pilot was not picked up for a full series. Kirk has a call with his dad, who he clearly has a bit of a troubled relationship with, and they chat about how the sales call went. I'm certain this was setting up a future storyline where he healed his relationship with his father and they put aside their differences. But like I said, we'll never see that future, this is all that we get. Then, perhaps most strangely of all, it's revealed that Amy joined their team, so now she will be going on all the business trips with them. But why? She didn't help them in any way, she wasn't even particularly funny, so why did they force her onto the team? It doesn't matter, like, because it's not like there's an episode 2 where we have to put up with her in it. But still, it just feels odd to force her into the team like that after she did absolutely nothing all episode. And of course, they had to have a final shot of them in business class. It feels a bit desperate, really. You know, like, look, it's called business class because it starts and ends there. Nah, doesn't really work. If you wanted to call it business class, they should have spent the entire episode there and have hijinks both in the plane and in the business class lounge. I think that's the very least to expect from a show with this title. But honestly, I enjoyed this pilot. My only problem is I've got no idea why it was called business class, because they spend so little time on the plane. They should have definitely renamed it. I'm not sure to what. If you have a better name, let me know in the comments. There's got to be something. It'd have to be something to do with the drinks companies or the fact that it's them competing. I don't know, something like that. It didn't make any sense to name it after the area of the plane they're sat in for the brief moments they're actually on the plane. So where does this pilot rank among the other unaired pilots that we've looked at? Well, honestly, this wasn't bad, but I had too many problems with it to label it good, so it definitely belongs in the mid category. You know what, I'm putting it at the top of that category, because I definitely enjoyed this more than, say, Reality Check. Yeah, that's fair. I'm kinda disappointed in this one, really, because when I started Pilot Vault, this pilot is one that stood out to me and I was excited to watch. I mean, I didn't expect to be talking about it almost 40 episodes later, but hang on, have we almost done 40 episodes of this show? Yeah, this is episode 38, 39 if you count the video we did on the Kanye West pilot. That's mad. Thanks for putting up with me and letting me talk about these unaired pilots that were never meant to be seen. Right, are there any other unaired pilots you want me to take a look at? If so, let me know in the comments, and subscribe, help us get to 4K. Right, there you go, bye.